Hi there, this is Live Prepper here, and I'm kicking back and I'm just chilling. But I got thinking about some things. As preppers are we're becoming like the Christians that's being crucified, forced to go underground. Back in the day, and it's getting more and more like that, unfortunately, as God is being taken out of the homes, the churches, the buildings, the double standards, triple standards. You're seeing more and more. Churches is all about the money. Tie this, tie that, let's tie. And there's a lot of good people out there, don't get me wrong, but I'm also finding a lot of people are moving away from the church and they're doing their own little thing, their own little group of family members and friends and having their own church because of all the problems out there. But that's what preppers are starting to do now. I find that more and more preppers seem to be getting more secretive. You still have some of them, they'll post things and they'll talk about things. And that's the ones that's more open about it. But at the same time, a lot of them are getting more reclusive. You and I think that's going to continue to grow. I think you're going to start seeing more and more people who lives in the neighborhoods are not talking about their prepping. They're not talking about the extra food they've got. They're not talking about their supplies or anything else because of the fact is of the fear of the way things are in society. Another gun shooting was at a college, and this is sad. It's sad that this happens. It happens more in the United States than it does anywhere else. So, because of things like that, people who does has guns and stuff like that. And my understanding it was another no gun policy state. I'm not certain. I haven't done full research. I'm just going by what another prepper was talking about. But it's forcing all these events. It's forcing preppers to go more underground. It's causing them to think different, where a lot of them was out there talking about things and posting things and being right there on the front lines and saying, yes, I'm this and yes, I've got that and look at my stuff. A lot of them are starting to close down their little areas. They're not going into the groups like they was, the prepper groups, the chat rooms and things. A lot of them starting to shut down even more. A lot of them's not even talking to people like they used to about it. They're they're changing their attitudes. Many of them just flat out moving as soon as they can. Some of them are actually went from living in a home to whatever to living out of their backpacks to keep from being in one basic area. Many of them are becoming more and more bushcraft type people, survival situations, and moving into areas where they can go into these areas. Many more of them you hear about the building the bunkers is a really big to do, even though they don't label themselves as preppers, many of these people don't. They still build bunkers anyway for precautionary measures. Many of them who can't afford to buy land somewhere else will buy another piece of land somewhere and build something there for them to have to go to in a situation. And I think you're going to see this trend continue to increase. The ones that's out there writing blogs and prepping and out there is more open about things, there'll be the ones that's really truly target quicker in many, many ways because they're very open about it. But also, many of them that's off the grid basically will be target as well too. Not saying they won't, but they're getting more and more to the point they're getting, and it's not saying they're getting paranoid. It's just like the Christians would have to go into the tombs to worship God. Many of them were sacrificed to the lions and all this because they was Christians. They chose to be Christians over what was other. And that's the way it's getting to be now. Many people who are choosing to be preppers are going silent. They're getting less and less talking about it. They're downplaying it, if they do. They'll say, well, yeah, but they're downplaying it more because really preppers are their own type of people. They don't see things the way a lot of the people who just follow blindly, basically, just they follow blindly. And someone told me that they were trying to shut InfoWars down, and they managed to, the government's come in and other sites has shut other programs down because it was just too much anti-government, or it was talking too much about something can be happening in an event. So they're shutting a lot of this down to eliminate the problem, let's say. So I think that's what's happening. I think you're seeing, you hear about, well, there's 3 million preppers in the United States, but I think the number's really higher than that. I think what's happening is you're seeing many of them that's totally disconnected themselves totally from the internet, basically. If they're on any kind of groups, they don't post a lot. You'll see some of them. I look at the sites. I don't read everything I see post because a lot of it's just way, way, way out there for me. Just too much. But I'll get these little pop-up things, and I'll saying, so-and-so group, this one's posted. You'll see some of them, they post non-stop. I mean, non-stop. Every day there's something they're posting on there about something they've seen. They've pasted it onto this one, or paste onto that one, or put that link up. You'll see some of these out there that does blogs. Don't even have the first thing they're really talking about. I did a few reviews where I posted the articles, talked about them on my tube site here, and they didn't even own an RV, but they're talking about it. Now, how can you talk about something that you don't even know anything about? So you're going to see those that likes to be in the limelight, and you've got some of them on the shows in their suits, and they're talking about this and this and that and that. They're out there. They make their money off of their prepper sites. They make money off of their prepper interviews. They make money endorsing products for survival sites. You've got those that's out there. They're saying, hey, I'm here. I'm not hiding it. I am a prepper. But I can disappear when I need to disappear because of the fact is that I've got all my stuff. And how much is too much stuff? Who knows? Now, a lot of them who's chose to start going into their backpacks more in a survival situation and get more off the grid has found that having a lot of stuff don't mean anything. You can't take it with you. If you can't carry it, if you can't have a shelter, you can't take all that stuff with you. So I think really preppers, more and more of them are going underground. I think more and more of them selling off everything they own and just basically going off grid, living out of their backpacks, using a free internet when they're somewhere or whatever, because they don't really want to be traced totally down. They can kind of figure out where they used their computer the last time, but it don't mean they're there still. I mean, they can probably chase them down if they want to. So yes, I do. I think preppers are like the Christians. They're being crucified. They're being labeled by the world saying, you don't want to be a prepper. You don't want to put up extra food, right? You know what? Our grandparents and our great-grandparents on back was canning foods and putting up meat and everything. They was preppers, basically. They was preparing for the winter months. They was preparing to feed their families. They was preparing shelters. And that was everyday living. And now, if you do stuff like that, look at them talking about taking the GMO off of these labels where people don't even know they're eating GMO. That's what I'm saying is they're taking away things, and they don't want you to know that putting up the extra food is smart. Having some extra clothes for the winter months if you need it or whatever. Having another heating source is smart. They want you to be so dependent on them in case something happens that they're made it look like everybody is terrorists. And that's not the case, unfortunately. Preppers are going underground because they are being forced to go underground. Preppers are talking, a lot of these are getting away from the groups. They're shutting down by being with any of these groups, basically. They're still in contact with some of them, But you'll still see those that opposes everything. They're still out there. They're still voicing their opinion. They're still going to be out there saying, hey, look at this. What's what? But you could have a neighbor as a prepper and you not even know it because of the thing is of the labeling they have put on preppers and the problems they have done to say, we don't want them. But the funny thing is, the government will come and arrest them, take everything they got in the name of the law, and say it's theirs. Just like saying, they find $1 million in a drug deal. Where does that $1 million go? Because it sure don't go back to the people. Nope. They take the homes, they take this, they take that. And that's what they're going to do in a prepper situation. That's why preppers are going underground. Really and honestly, preppers are like Christians. They're being crucified. They're being punished. They're being set up as scapegoats. They're being made look bad. And not saying there's not some crazy ones out there. But more and more of them's going underground and more of them's talking less and less about things that they're doing in society. You're still going to have those out there. But more and more of them is going underground because they are being crucified just like the Christians was crucified in their day, and Christians are getting crucified now. So this is a live prayer. I want you to be safe, be happy. Bless you all.